This is absolutely terrible. This is a really hard video for me to make, actually, and I wanted to make a video right away about it when I heard this happen, but I was so busy researching and panicking and freaking out because, unfortunately, I was also part of the Celsius collapse rug pull looking thing. I'm going to go over what is Celsius real briefly. I'm sure you already know what Celsius is if you're watching this video, what happened, and what I think is going to happen with the rest of our money or the people's assets that are in Celsius. So Celsius was a centralized lending platform. This is not decentralized finance. This is centralized finance. And that is actually something that I feel disappointed in myself now, but we just get too laxative and too trusting. And so anyway, Celsius you would lend your money to Celsius, they would lend out your money to other people, and they would pay these rewards that were unsustainable rewards. And when the market was in a bull market and their Celsius token was high, they could offset these probably losses, and essentially it became a Ponzi scheme. But they would, they seemed like they were one of the top crypto banks in the entire world. Stating here on Crunchbase, they had raised a total of $864 million. So just because something is big and popular, it does not mean that it is safe. And it's so unfortunate because I've said it before on my channel, and I should have taken my own freaking advice that just because something's so big doesn't mean it's going to fail. And the thing is about this is that, or the investments that we perceive as extremely risky, like really low cap cryptos, usually we lose less in those. And it's when you believe something is less risky, those are the ones that really burn you. So we have to find takeaways from this. Anyways, so 864 million in funding. Last year, Celsius raised $400 million from a Canadian pension fund, the Caisse de Dépôt, Placement de Quebec. I really hope this wasn't a majority of these people's pension fund, but I don't know what is going to happen with this money. And if you lost money in Celsius, I feel for you. I lost a lot of money in Celsius. I lost 10 ETH, 0.3 Bitcoin. Luckily, I had bought that a long time ago, so I wasn't I was probably in for only a couple $1,000s. But if you do the math, you know what that's worth now. And that was way too much of my portfolio in Celsius at that time. And when I put money in Celsius, I knew it was risky, and then it was working for so long, I just got used to it. And it was so sad because the day that I got that email, I started thinking, and I was busy doing a lot of other things, and I wasn't seeing all the FUD on social media about Celsius. And what's interesting is I do also believe that FUD semi-created Celsius. I think there was two effects here. Probably Celsius was becoming more insolvent as the market crashed, but also then the FUD starts, and I don't even like saying, but the fear started, and people start pulling out their money, and there's a run on the bank of Celsius, and they don't have enough money in the bank because it's lent out, and they can't cover the depositors, so they pause withdrawals. Now, I'm sure you've probably already seen this. Celsius took 320 million in crypto to FTX just before they released that memo. We might have wanted to create something in our head saying, oh, they're going to try to rebuild their ecosystem and pay us our money back. But when you really think about it realistically, they're liquidating, they're selling, they're taking care of themselves. Maybe they have clauses to take care of their big investors, the institutional investors. And yeah, so this is not a good sign. And stupidly, I wish I knew this before, Celsius had 27% of their liquidity of ETH staked on the ETH2 platform. Now, they probably thought, and that was so they could gain rewards, but they probably thought that with their staked ETH, which was originally pegged 1-to-1, that if they needed to get liquidity, they could sell their staked ETH. Now, with staking ETH, you can't pull out that ETH you can't unstake it until the merge happens. When that's going to happen, we don't know. That's why I didn't stake my ETH. So for them to take hundreds of millions of dollars and put it into something that is completely illiquid when they need to have liquidity is a pretty crazy thing to do, in my opinion. So also what happened is that because they had so much staked ETH, and there became a lot of selling pressure on staked ETH. So the pegging of staked ETH actually came down. Now, pegging of staked ETH is not the same as the pegging of a stablecoin or UST. Staked ETH is pegged to an ETH staked on Ethereum 2. So when Ethereum 2 comes out, those will be able to exchange 1-to-1. However, they're being traded staked ETH outside of that connected piece. So even though eventually now there are here, they say Ethereum bulls see opportunity in Celsius collapse staked ETH depeg. Technically, if you buy staked ETH right now, 95 cents to the dollar, 93 cents to the dollar, and you hold on to it till ETH2 comes out, you're going to be able to get ETH2 at a 1-to-1. But will that actually be the case? We don't know for sure, but that is the way that ETH and staked ETH should work. So I'm sure you've seen and read the memo from the Celsius community. I'm not going to go over it too greatly, but was one thing that really stuck out to me when this happened is that they said customers will continue to accrue rewards during the pause in line with our commitment to our customers. Now, this was a big red flag for me because if you're an insolvent lender who's trying to decrease your liabilities because you don't have enough liquidity for your depositors, you're not going to keep your interest rates high. You're going to lower your interest rates. Now, I would have expected with a platform like Celsius or BlockFi that if they were getting in liquidity issues, they would lower their interest rates. But I guess maybe they were afraid that they would lose customers. Now, something I missed that I shouldn't have missed is that, and what kind of tricked you with Celsius, I'm sure this might happen to you if you lost your Celsius as well, is because if you were grandfathered into the earn interest program, once you pull it out, you don't get that interest anymore. But what I didn't think about is how many people aren't getting that interest, and then why be on Celsius if you're not getting the interest? So they're going to start losing customers just from that standpoint. They were under SEC regulation, and there were just a ton of red flags that now hindsight's 2020 seemed very clear. And they were things I thought about when I first put my money into BlockFi and then into Celsius, but it had just, and when BlockFi started being regulated, I pulled my money out of BlockFi because I was worried about it, and I put it into Celsius stupidly. And now, and if you do have money on BlockFi and you do have money on Voyager, or the thing is not your keys, not your crypto, just couldn't be more true. And I have a friend who lost a lot of Bitcoin back in the Mt. Gox days, and I thought, oh, well, that's not going to happen those were old real Wild West days, and there weren't institutional investors back then. They didn't have backing by all these VCs and all these huge organizations that were going to make sure this thing was legitimate and that we should trust it. And that is just not the case. And one of the takeaways I'm taking from this is I don't trust anybody with my crypto. Even the exchanges, I'm being super careful. Even Coinbase, at the end of the day, you're giving them your crypto and they can do whatever they want with it and you have no protection. So just be super careful. Have your cryptos in hard wallets. I'm using the Ledger. Have them in wallets. Have them in different places. Have them on different wallets. Diversify your portfolio because we can get freaking wrecked. And when it happens to you, it's gnarly. It's been really intense. And, and what really sucks too is that I don't know for sure, but I do believe that the value of that ETH and all that Bitcoin is going to go up, and it's going to be this, it's not the same as selling at the wrong time. That feeling you sell at the wrong time, or you didn't buy and you missed something, or you made a mistake that way. It's not the same way when someone pulls your bag and takes it and you feel like you got scammed. And I need to take responsibility, I guess. And I've said before, we have to be willing to lose. And I thought I was, and I wasn't. And then when it happened, it messes you up. And it sucks. And, it was hard for me to even make this video, or even I started even questioning, can I even continue to make videos after making such a big mistake? But, it's like none of us know what's going to happen in this thing. And we need to be, and for me, I'm going to be so much more diligent or just like, I don't know if careful is the right word, but just knowing that we don't know. And if you think you know the market's going to do something, you think you know this thing for sure is going to be the one, and it's this, like, you don't know. No one knows. And the smartest, I was listening to Mark Andreessen, one of the smartest VCs. He has no idea why the market does what it does. So we have to, continue with our strategy, have a strategy, learn from your mistakes. And so anyways, now the takeaway now, and I've been scouring the internet, and I'm sure if you lost money in Celsius, you are too, is trying to figure out what is going to happen. Am I going to get my crypto back? And the sad, most likely reality, I don't know for sure, is that that's not going to happen. It doesn't really make sense how no one's going to loan them money. They've lost all trust completely with all their customers, and their entire business model is based on customers trusting them with their money. So the minute they would be to open withdrawals, it would just get flushed immediately, and there would be nothing left. So unfortunately, I'm emotionally preparing, emotionally trying to handle this, that it's gone, it's not coming back. And, it is what it is. Now, moving forward, what I'm going to do is that I am going to be careful, but I'm still going to look at this bear market as a big opportunity. And I'm also going to take profits when I'm up. And one thing I think can happen in crypto is that we get very dogmatic. We get very excited. We're so pumped up and focused, and we believe in this, and we're going to hodl until we die, and we get attached to these things, and we can't get attached to these things. We can't get attached to these founders, these people building these things, these Hoskinsons or the Sam Bankman-Frieds or the whatever, God, I can't even say his name, from Celsius, but people were saying, oh, I really like him, I trust him. We have to, this is a very risky business. It's a very risky technology. It's just extremely risky. And when you have gains, when you have wins, when you can decrease your risk, take profit, do it. Like, if you miss out on some potential gains, it happens. We all miss out on gains, but my thing is going to be taking profits, not selling everything, because the times I've sold everything, in most cases, if my Solana rallies back up, I'm going to sell a good chunk, not going to sell all of it, because we just don't know who's going to win. We don't know who's going to survive this thing, and whoever wins is going to win huge, because this space is growing, is going to grow immensely, I believe. And we are, I believe, rebuilding the internet, or layer of the internet, but it's just it's so crazy new. There's a lot of overvalued projects. There's a lot of projects like Celsius that are going to go to zero, and it's hard to tell which ones are going to do that. And we really need to look at these things and go, okay, how does this go to zero? How does this not work out? Terra went to zero, massive. These were huge. Celsius was the number one lending bank for crypto. Terra was one of the top crypto projects in the world. Boom, went to zero. And if you lost in this, I feel for you. It fucking sucks. It's a mind bender, because you feel like an idiot. And it's like, hey, if you think I'm an idiot and you don't want to listen to anything I'm saying, then you shouldn't really. I'm going to try and give you guys information, but you shouldn't really take any of my investing advice, right? Like, don't take anyone's investing advice. Like, do your research and make your own decisions. All right. Hope you learned something. I want to say keep aping, keep hodling, but I don't even know, because hodling is, we got to keep aping, keep hodling for now, and then take some profits. Nice. Phew.